all about the quarterbacks for Wild Card Weekend, as all four had huge games. Joining us now, Rudy Carpenter, to discuss the quarterbacks. Hey, Rudy, if you had to pick the top quarterback of the four, which one would you have gone with? Who had the best? Who had the best performance in your mind of the four?
Wow, that's a really tough question.
Starting you off with a tough one.
That might be too difficult. I guess what I would say is I really enjoyed the Rams-Lions game because both of those guys played really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford was on fire for the majority of the game. Goff played really well. I thought it was a really, really clean football game. But, I mean, look, Jordan Love played outstanding, and I don't think that people thought he was going to play that well on the road against the Dallas Cowboys, the young football team. And, you know, obviously what Pat Mahomes did in that super cold weather is really important, too. I mean, look, I don't think people really understand how hard it is to throw the ball when you can't feel your hands. You know, and I mean, it was good football by everybody all the way around. But I'm going to go with Jared Goff and Stafford combined.
You know, it's interesting you talked about, you know, the difficulty of throwing that cold ball in that weather. And I'm like, I was impressed with Mahomes. Not big number, very efficient numbers. He had the ball under control, I felt. A lot of the passes, putting guys out front. Kelsey, again, having trouble catching it. But I got to tell you what, watching the growth of Jordan Love, getting confident with what he's seeing, get confident and relaxed with the offense. And then some of the throws he made, Rudy, some of the off-platform throws or, you know, some of the accuracy shots that he made really impressed me on a consistent basis in that Dallas game.
You're not going to hear me argue that point. You know, obviously he played tremendous, and I was a little perplexed about just how they had guys just running wide open all over the field. You know, I don't want to sound like a hater and take anything away from Jordan Love because he played fantastic, but you know, there was a couple plays there where, I mean, you could have punted the ball out there to the guy and it would have been considered a good enough throw because the guy was just wide open. You know what I mean? And you know, again, I don't want to sound as if I'm hating on Jordan Love because he obviously played fantastic, but they did something schematically, you know, that really, really fooled the Dallas Cowboys defense. I mean, that big, long touchdown to Luke Musgraves was a good example. I mean, is that a quote unquote trick play? I mean, I guess, but it's really a play that most teams run where you just make it look like a play action pass and you kind of show your tight ends down blocking, and then he escapes out the back end and runs like a backdoor rail route up the sideline. It's not like one of those plays that's like, oh my gosh, what an incredible tricky scheme they just did right there. And he was wide open by like 50 yards. So again, I don't want to take anything away from Love. He played great. I thought what was interesting is the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody made a big deal, including myself, all week about how cold it was going to be and how difficult it's going to be to throw the football. And Mahomes already, his guys haven't been playing great, you know, really all year. His wideouts I'm talking about. And they came out from the very first snap, throwing the ball all down the field. And to me, it kind of made me feel like both Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes wanted to come out from the jump and show the Miami Dolphins from a warm weather state where that weather was going to be shocking to them. Like, look, not only are we going to come out here and handle the weather, but we're going to come out here and handle the weather and do it our way of attacking with the pass game down the field and show you we're not afraid to do it. Can you guys match us throwing the football, which is what, you know, the Miami Dolphins have been great at doing all year long, which is throwing the ball down the field.
All right, so then take me to Tua and the Dolphins, and they all look like they were in an icebox. They were all frozen to death.
Slow motion.
Yep, they were. Is Tua then, in your estimation, just a warm weather QB? and all conditions have to be right for him in order to be effective, or I'm not seeing this correctly?
I mean, look, I don't want to say that. He's played games before when it was really cold where, he's done a good job. Again, I think one of the big issues here is, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Jones, and L'Jarius Sneed, and some of the other players they got on defense. They've Nick Bolton, they've been there and done that as far as the playoffs go and playing in cold weather. The Kansas City Chiefs have been here before. There's a lot of veteran teams like the Kansas City Chiefs whose viewpoint is, who cares what the regular season record is? Just get us in the playoffs and let our veteran players, let our veteran coach, let our all-star $50 million a year type players go give us a chance to win one game each week. And to me, that was more what it was like. Tua was, I think he was 20 for 39. Patrick Mahomes was 23 for 41. So from a completion percentage standpoint, it wasn't like they were too far off. Just the touchdown throws, obviously, and the explosive plays were a big deal.
Hey, Rudy, before we let you go, I know you got an inside track on a lot of stuff in college football. Have you heard of any names down in Tucson to replace Jedd Fisch?
I haven't. I wouldn't be surprised if, based on some of the financial issues University of Arizona has had, plus their lack of success, along with the success of Jedd Fisch, I could see them trying to snag somebody off of that coaching staff. Maybe, a guy like Brennan Carroll, who has the lineage of his dad and, has been a part of really big time football teams, et cetera, et cetera. But look, I'm just throwing names out there.
Sure. Rudy, as always, buddy, thanks for jumping on with us today.
All right, guys.
That's Rudy Carpenter joining us as he does each and every Monday. You can follow him on Twitter at RudyGCarp12. RudyGCarp12 on Twitter or X. Well, the Waste Management Phoenix Open is just around the corner. George Thimpson, the 2024 Waste Management Phoenix Open Tournament chairman, will tell us what's new for this year.